Okay, in 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Welcome back to Yukikaze Gaming. No, yeah, we'll go ahead and discard changes. We're gonna continue our draft today of, premiere draft of, Neon Dynasty Kamigawa block on Magic the Gathering Arena. Hopefully I've ironed out the issues I saw in the previous captures for the most part, at least the most egregious ones. I know that it turned out the capture made everything pretty fuzzy, even full screen at maximum resolution. It was pretty hard to read a lot of the cards. Part of that was YouTube downgrading the quality to 480p. For whatever reason, it just didn't like what the recording was done at, and decided it was not going to give me those higher levels of quality and just drop everything and compress it. Alright, you learn new things all the time. And that's part of the experience and the adventure that we're going through here, so. That said, I believe, fixed most of those issues by doing some pretty intensive tinkering. If you saw some of my previous videos for, like, Parkasaurus, I've switched capturing methodologies again, to something that's more generic and universally applicable that can also pick up sound, which it was distinctly lacking on those videos. Obviously they had game sound, but I had no way of inputting mic sound. So now, though, I've got something implemented for that, and we're kind of going back through the whole process again of cleaning up the capture quality and trying to make sure that the audio quality is good, all that stuff. I've also boosted things, so I should be a little louder this time. I did notice it seemed like I was kind of on the quiet side in the previous videos, so hopefully that is good and not blowing out people's eardrums or anything like that. So last time we drafted this black-red deck, which is pretty aggro. It really pretty much aims to get one of these Inkrise Infiltrators or something to that effect out, and then use it to ninjutsu in big threats, like these guys, and then also drops this just for immediate win, unless they can deal with it, generally speaking. We've got a couple of combat tricks, we've got some equipment that really hasn't made it into play much as of yet, and generally speaking, deck feels like it's in an okay place. We're 1-1 currently. Am looking to check and see if maybe there's any changes I want to make to the deck real quick here, but I don't think... Yeah, even if I tried to force it, I don't have enough black to push it into mono black. There's really only very minor tinkering that I can perform here, and most of it looks like it's going to be more harm than good. So, alright, let's go ahead and start up a game and see how far we can get with this deck. I did a pretty significant amount of research, and there's an interesting thing I discovered with OBS, which is that if you log into another profile, sometimes it deletes all of your settings, so I lost everything and had to start from scratch again. That was awesome. Alright, well, we've got, like, pretty ideal color fixing here, maybe a little more land than we ideally want, but I'd rather have too much and not enough. I've got at least one card that I can eventually drop, but it's going to be a little slow. I've got two of my big bombs. I would like to see more small creatures in this hand, but I don't think I can justify pitching it, because I could end up mono-screwed. So, go ahead and gain a life and pass a turn. Alright, well, drop a swamp. Can't do anything else. At least next turn, we've got this 3/3 for 3 drop, which is pretty reasonable by the standards of this set. Those things I've discovered are a little bit annoying, but we can get past that. By the time I attack, I can drop this war paint on this guy, make him even bigger, and then they won't be able to block with that, which is one way to get around it. Unfortunately, right now I don't have anything else I can drop if I do that, which is kind of a bummer. Okay, he may play an additional land this turn. He's got 2 mana open. Blocks or becomes blocked. Okay, yeah. For some reason I thought that card was only a trigger on hit blocking, but apparently not. That definitely makes it significantly stronger. It's a strictly better Grizzly Bears. He is now tapped, so I don't actually have to cast this right now. I can save it. So I'm just going to go ahead and attack for 3. Well, I guess I could turn that 3 into 5. That would be one thing I could do here. That's not a bad move. I'll take it. Suddenly, my board's a lot more threatening. Okay. Let's see here. 4 mana. I could kill one of their creatures, but it doesn't really get me anywhere. I think I'm better off just attacking and then playing some stuff. And why not? We'll just put a blocker on the field that feels a little bit threatening. It'll keep them from probably swinging with their 3/3. It becomes blocked. Untap up to 3 lands you control. Okay. Interesting. Well, it can't attack this turn, so I'll have to wait. Okay. Yeah, clearly they did not like that idea of me, gaining mana. I think I need to remove something because I'm getting dangerously low on life, but I am still kind of racing them here. So I think the Twisted Embrace is the correct move at this point, and I think I have to get rid of that Likeness of the Seeker, because if they start untapping land like that, it could get messy. Okay, he pulled the Indestructible play. That also makes it a little pointless for me to attack right now. He'll just block it. I'll be down to blocker. No bueno. So, that's one combat trick down, though. And I still got +1/+1 to my creature out of it. So, not the worst. I'm actually pretty okay with blocking that, because right now all of his lands are already untapped, so I don't see him getting much value out of this. okay. Now I'm not in a great position. Well, all I can really do is drop some creatures. If they do full attack at me, at least I can kill 2 of them. I'll still take 3 damage and be at 1 life. And that's game. So all I can really do is like block there, and dead. Good game. Sorry for the small audio hiccups there. Just trying to open some monitoring, performance monitoring, so I can keep an eye on how we're doing here. I want to make sure that the capture isn't eating so much resources that it becomes a problem for this game in the future or other games. Incidentally, right now the capture software is taking between 5 and 10% of the CPU, which looks fine. Alright, so... this is a pretty nice curve that we have, generally speaking, for this deck. We've got both colors of mana. No reason not to keep this. Sorry, one more audio hiccup there real quick. Alright, so... use battlefield if you... huh, interesting. Well, the only real move is to drop my flyer. And next turn I can drop the scrap welder as a blocker. No blocks. So, their creature's more threatening in terms of power, but okay, now that would have changed things if that had dropped sooner, but it didn't, so here we are. I was about to say the value of flying is a bit higher, so it's important that I keep this alive, especially the way my deck functions. I need to be able to ninjutsu this back to my hand once I get one of my bombs, if I get them. So I think... yeah, the only play here really is still to drop this. The only difference is now I can't attack this turn for my amazing 1 damage. They're playing blue-green, which explains this decoy. They're hoping to draw. They're probably also hoping to pump and kill my creature, which they might do. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're happy enough just drawing a card, and we're kind of bluffing and hoping that I would take the damage. Wow, they are just all kinds of reach. Okay. I'm just gonna burn my tricks to blast through their defenses here, in hopes that they don't have more reach stuff, because otherwise I'm probably boned. So I see a couple different ways that this block can play out, but it doesn't really matter to me which way it plays out. I'm gonna basically do the same strategy no matter what, unless they just don't block anything for some reason. They're tapped out at the moment, so they can't possibly have any combat tricks of their own. Which has them clearly thinking very hard about what to do here. Okay, so the play here is I've got to channel this for the +3/+1, and then I've got to return to action on the scrap welder to earn that. Alright, that's just a vanilla 2/3 at this stage, for all intents and purposes. It's not worth me going out of my way to specifically kill it, so I'm just gonna attack with everything and see what happens. 4 damage went in. Cool. So we're going to drop Chainful Centipede. And we'll drop a mountain. Trample. Yeah, that is indeed a large Tanuki. That's certainly more of a problem for me than the other creature is. Okay, so I'm gonna do two things here. One is Twisted Embrace, which I guess will be on the Scrap Welder to murder the Tanuki. They're tapped out, so they can't really protect anything. The next will be to reconfigure onto the Grace Infiltrator, and then we'll attack. And now 7, 11, yeah. They can crew that. It has trample and haste. But it doesn't fly, so I think my play here is just attack with Infiltrator and pump it. Alright, good game. Okay, so we're sitting at 2-2. Respectable, but not amazing. Let's see if we can get up there. The jump between 2 wins and 3 wins is really quite substantial. It hurts pretty bad if you don't make it to 3 wins in terms of getting your investment back. That said, this time we did play with gold, so it's kind of technically a profit no matter what. But on these gold rounds, it's useful to make as much of a gem profit as you possibly can to help cover you when you do have a run of bad luck and just get completely trashed for some reason. Maybe you just have a round where every single game you know pull horrible mana screw or something like that. Um, and the gold that you earn to enter matches separately really helps offset that if you're able to reach the appropriate tier of return on investment. Okay, so I think this is the first time that I've had to actually strongly consider mulling. I do have a couple things I can play. I'm light on land, though, and I don't have both colors, which are both dangerous. Um, this could keep me going for a while, but it's risky. There's the distinct possibility that I could just get stuck with an Inkrise Infiltrator on the field and doing nothing else for a while. So I think the appropriate course of action is to mull here. And then, under the circumstances, probably what I'm going to do is pitch Swamp? No, I'll pitch the Uncharted Haven, I think. Because I'm fine with having the double black. I don't know that I actually have any double red in my deck. And this is just a slower basic land for me, basically. So I'm going to keep 6. We're going to drop the Haven. Starting off with a good game, that's unusual. Okay, but whatever. So they dealt the damage to me. Interesting. Rapid battery. Okay, that's cute. It's the Energizer Bunny. I see what they did there. So... yeah, that might be a good play here, actually. Just, they've got a lot of defenders on the field. I think looking at their hand and then possibly making my creature bigger and troublesome for them is good. They're even more aggressive than I am, but they don't appear to have a lot of sustain going. They're very light on cards already. Somehow improbably even lighter than I am. And if they do have some nasty bomb or something, then this is an opportunity for me to get rid of it. I'm okay with them having both of those. Yeah, he's probably just gonna go ahead and flare this. So maybe getting rid of the flare was better idea in retrospect. So at least I would have taken out one of his creatures. Mistakes were made. I'm still kind of... It's such a weird card. I think it's time for me to just start dropping stuff and get some things on the field. They have no cards in hand. If they figure out how their operative works, they can start getting some damage in with it. I could attack right now, but I would just end up killing a 2/2 and losing a 3/3, so not great. Now that's a kind of an amateur mistake you just made. When the only card you have in your hand is a land, it's almost universally better to keep that land in your hand to bluff your opponent into, or at least have some ability to bluff your opponent into thinking that you might have something that you can play that would be useful. Combat trick, removal, something to that effect, which he clearly did not do here. So the only creature I can really successfully attack with right now is the Infiltrator, which is fine, because it's going to turn into a Shadow Walker. Now you're going to see me empty out my hand, but there's a reason for that, which is that I actually am going to need that mana to complete the play of dropping the Infiltrator again. If I do draw another land after this, I'll probably just hang on to it. So we're gonna attack with just the Infiltrator. I don't think there's any real, like, instant graveyard recursion or anything like that in this set that I have to worry about. At least not that I've seen so far. I'm used to a couple of sets here where there's been lots of stuff that blue-red was just playing from the graveyard over and over again, which was irritating. Alright, so we're kind of stabilized now. He knows we have the Infiltrator. Might as well get back on the field. I don't know why he's saying that. So he's gonna lose some stuff here if I attack with everything, but he's also gonna lose some stuff if I just attack with these. Using the Shadow Walker is pretty painful, because it's only gonna take out his 3/4. I don't know that I really want that, so I'm gonna attack with just the Infiltrator, and I'm gonna pump it. Okay, he's attacking, it's unblockable. Luckily for me, he really hasn't figured out how this thing works. But he did just play that Iron Hoof Boar. That's kind of sad times for me. It is a haste trample, but obviously he couldn't attack with it because the Shadow Walker. That's going to be a nasty surprise for him. So I'm just going to save this combat trick. I'm going to attack. Just kind of trying to get him into lethal range here. Meanwhile, if I'm lucky, he'll do something stupid and attack with the boar. Oh, okay. That puts me on a little bit of a tighter clock. Yep. Okay. Drop a mountain. Just gives me a little more wiggle room on what I can play here. So you can untap that. If he doesn't block anything, I have lethal. If he does block stuff, the only thing he can really block is the Shadow Walker, and he's gonna pay dearly for that. So 2 attackers, let's let him pick his blockers. Yep. Interesting choice. Activate that. And we're gonna do that. And it also gets lifelink, so I'm gonna get life back, and he's gonna be very sad. Oh, that's right. He does have that etching of mono. I forgot that prevents that from happening. So that was actually a misplay on my part, to some degree at least. It's a spirit. Goblin Artificer. We've no cards in hand. Block with that. He's not. Okay. So, unless he drops another creature or something, which he just threw down a land, again, bad play on his part, I still win this. Just doesn't have anything that he can kill him with right now. if he'd been using this properly, he could have been getting a lot more damage in and would have had that game. So, if anyone's not understanding, the way that card is supposed to be used is you attack, it becomes a 1/1 that can't be blocked. You allow your opponent to declare defenders, and after defenders are declared, you have another opportunity to activate abilities. So he would have then been able to activate the ability to untap it, which would turn it back into a 3/4. So he could have been doing another 2 damage with every attack, and there wasn't a whole lot of reason for him not to, given that most of the time he was wide open in terms of land, had plenty of it, no cards in hand, no other abilities to activate, so he was just intentionally throwing the game? I don't know, or just didn't understand the card that he was running. I'm not really sure. But in any case, we got to 3 wins, and we'll see if we can make it up to 4 wins on the next attempt here. But we'll take a quick break just to open this pack we got, just because having a little glowing thing annoys me. Another legend. I've said before that legends are kind of my thing. I do like to collect them, more so in paper Magic than in Arena, but still, always cool to pull a new legend. Alright, again, we've got a decent mix of land, and we're right in that comfortable 3 to 4 land range, which is exactly what we want. We've got an Infiltrator, we've got an Enormous Energy Blade, we've got a Shock, and we've got a Combat Trick / late game board drop. So, yeah, I'm cool with this hand. Right now, strategy is looking like equip Inkrise Infiltrator with Enormous Energy Blade and swing for 5 damage every turn. In the air, seems good enough. Now, they dropped a Moth Rider Patrol. The appropriate thing to do here is to wait for attackers. Typically, because by waiting for attackers, you give them an opportunity to do something like drop an enchantment on the creature or something like that. If they had done that, I could have, as an instant speed effect, killed the creature before the enchantment hit it, for instance, and then they would be out 2 cards instead of 1. But that didn't happen here. It's just kind of a general note on gameplay strategy. Alright, no reason not to attack for 1 damage. And then we'll drop our Enormous Energy Blade. Also fun that both of us are using Extra Life Ajani sleeves. I wasn't playing when this set that he has came out, but it is actually cuter than the other one that I have. Would totally have grabbed that, given the opportunity. Draw card. Ugh, I don't like that. But there's not much I can do about it at the moment. No, let's cancel that. So it's important that I attack first, because equipping with the Energy Blade causes the creature to tap, which is not great under the circumstances. Want to get the damage in first, and then you can equip an Enormous Energy Blade. And then we can drop another Infiltrator. Pass turn. So hopefully my 6 in the air every turn can outpace his card draw, given that, and whatever the heck is going on there, given that it puts them essentially on a 3-turn clock. Less, maybe, depending on how I play this, if I pump things and things of that nature. Which I'm going to. Next turn, I can drop the Iron Hoof Boar, and I can attack with that with Trample and Haste. They'll have no choice but to block it, and it's going to leave them in a pretty bad spot unless they do something really impressive right now. Actually, I think... okay. I think better yet, I'll have enough mana that I can pump and use the Iron Hoof Boar effect, and they have nothing available to stop it, so that's 10 damage just from one Infiltrator. And that's game. Way back in the day, there used to be something called Magic the Puzzling in the old Magic-related magazines. Was one of my favorite things to sit there, and they would give you a board, and the goal was to figure out how you could win that turn with the cards available. I'm aware that there are other games that do those kinds of exercises as well. I know that's something that professional shogi players do, and I assume probably professional chess players and things like that as well, where you know, there's a guaranteed win board state. Maybe you have to do quite a few plays to get there, but there's, you know, no path to victory for your opponent if played correctly. So, alright, we've got 4 wins. You know, we've got almost an entire entry, feeling pretty good about that. Anything that we get on top of this is basically gravy at this point. One more win and we're into profitability. I did put a new filter on the microphone as well, and hopefully it's cut down on any sounds of me breathing and things like that. Alright, this is not a keepable hand. With only one swamp, there's just no question that we have to mulligan that. And here, I think the Reckoner Shakedown is going to get pitched. We're going to keep the 6. I was wondering what was taking them so long, but I guess apparently they were still figuring out what card to pitch for their mulligan. I didn't know that the game would actually send you into play like that while they were still deciding. Or maybe I just never noticed it before. Okay, 2/2 trample tree spirit. It's not actually a tree spirit, just a spirit. Just looks like a tree. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of each end step. If an enchantment was put in a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, you may return it to Kami of Transience from your graveyard to your hand. Huh. I don't like it. I mean, I don't like my opponent having it. I think the play here is Warpaint on Infiltrator. Attack. Infiltrator. Now that's nasty, but I'm not in a rush to get rid of it because of the simple fact that one of the things that makes it so nasty is its ability to come back from the graveyard. So unless I have a way to exile it or use an arrest on it or something like that, just regular old killing it, unfortunately for me, isn't really good enough. I don't have a lot of options here. I can attack by 1/1, I can... I guess dropping my 3/3 is the right play. What? Okay, I kind of hate it. Alright, well, I'm glad that I saved my removal, because I'm clearly going to need it for that thing. Man, that makes me sad. Okay, I do control a modified creature, but I'm not in a hurry to play that. At the moment, I think my play is, well, I mean, I didn't have a choice but to save Twisted Embrace. I'll have the mana for it still anyway. Hopefully I get the mana for it by the time that thing transforms, but let's see. And then I'll drop my Samurai. Yep. This is a really good, effective deck that they have here. I don't know if the rest of their deck is like this, but, I mean, that is a very nice combination. I'm gonna have a hard time pulling out of this one, if I can. I think at the moment I still take the damage. And I think I'm going to have to... I think I'm going to have to Ambitious Assault this turn. They've got an awful lot of untapped land, but what can you do? So 4, 6, and then another 6 is lethal if unblocked. And it's unblocked. So now, unless they do something really weird and unusual, if they've got some kind of fog effect or something like that, they can save themselves, but otherwise they die. Which... Ah, okay. So, removal, that'll do. That's certainly scary. They don't quite have lethal on me right now, though. But I do potentially have lethal on them. Oh, well, not anymore. Yeah, that just messed up my whole day right there. 5 mana. I mean, literally, the only thing I can do, unfortunately, is... this Twisted Embrace. And kill that, but I still lose. Good game. Alright, well, that was a fun attempt. I really thought I had them there for a second, despite their clear advantage, but that removal definitely got me. They just dropped all the removal and wiped my whole board. Okay, let's see what we got in our packs. Alright, another legend. Enters battlefield, exile target card other than a basic land card from an opponent's graveyard. Search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles. For as long as you control Kotose, you may play one of the exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were any card to cast it. Alright, so A, it's Pithing Needle. But then B, you can also cast the cards. It's not as effective at doing what Pithing Needle does. If it is Pithing Needle I'm thinking of, it might have actually been the black card that does this. That was like 4 mana sorcery? I can't remember. I think Pithing Needle had a similar effect, but it targeted the hand, maybe? Something like that. Anyway. That type, style of effect, and then allows you to cast the spells, which is pretty powerful. Turns your opponent's deck against them, which is pretty much what you're looking for in black-blue control, generally speaking. And aside from that, it's a vanilla 4/4, which is not bad in and of itself. It's also a ninja, which might have some ninja synergy. Not a bad card. It would be a weird draft pick. You could draft around it if you got it early on. But being double color, probably a little bit harder to work with if you're not already in black-blue in the later packs. Okay, so it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Cool. It's always fun picking out the little flavor pieces in these cards. It used to always be in the flavor text, but now a lot of the times it's more in the meta Ludo narrative of the card, the art and naming and things like that. They've not really left room for flavor text on a lot of the cards anymore, and even the ones that they do leave room for, frequently they don't get any flavor text, which actually kind of makes me sad. You know, I remember when flavor text used to be a callback to the book series a lot of the time, and really helped tell the story of the set, but you don't see that very often anymore. Usually if there is a flavor text on something, it's pretty standalone. Dynasty, the living lore. Alright. The lore counter on each sage you control. Activate only as a sorcery. I'm immediately a little excited by the fact that this is a white-green legend, just because I think I've mentioned previously, for Commander/EDH, run a Captain Sisay deck, which is, of course, a white-green Legends-themed deck. So whether this turns out to be kind of jank, and maybe the sort of thing that would only be useful in my, like, casual version of the deck, or if it's super competitive, with some kind of, you know, recursion synergy or something like that, and could go into my more competitive version of the deck. Either way, I always get excited when I see another white-green legend. Just gives me something to kind of puzzle through in my head and think about the possibilities of what it might be useful for. But yeah, okay, when it dies, choose up to 1, return target saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand, or return target saga card from your graveyard to your hand. I don't know how to feel about that. It's very saga-based, very kind of niche to this set. I can't really imagine myself getting the opportunity to run that in the decks I was thinking of, unless I were to, you know, make like a whole new version of the deck and construct it entirely around that, running like legendary green-white sagas, that I could tutor for, and then tutoring this out just to take advantage of those sagas, but the reality is there's so much board wipe in that format that I would be hard-pressed to actually make a kind of strategy work at all. Sorry, I need a sip of water there. Reminder, stay hydrated, everybody. Obligatory. And I think I started to say earlier, but I did add a new filter. Hopefully it's cutting out any, like, breathing into the mic and things like that. You're probably still hearing, like, mouse clicks and things of that nature, but at least the very low-level noise hopefully is being suppressed now. Alright, thank you for joining me on this episode of Yukikaze Gaming. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. No, but really, any subs that I can get especially are very helpful for me. So if you liked what you saw and want to see more of it, please be sure to do that. See you all next time on Yukikaze Gaming.